I think we are live. Maybe I wait for Red to confirm. Yes, we are. Beautiful. At least I can see it on YouTube. That's good enough. Okay. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here today. My name is Moritz. I'm a developer relations engineer at Affinity, and I'm joined today by a number of really amazing builders, and that is namely people from Omnity, from Odin, from Liquidium, from Kong, and of course, the team lead from the cross-chain team, which is Greg. And we've assembled today to celebrate the Helium Milestone. And in case you don't know what the Helium Milestone means for Affinity, you can actually check the roadmap right here. It basically contains of threshold EDDSA signing and the Solana RPC canister, but we will hear more about that in a minute when Greg tells us how that works, what it is, and why we need it. And the Helium milestone marks the third big integration after Bitcoin and a number of EVM chains that we've integrated with over the past 2-3 years. And if you are a developer that builds on the internet computer, that means that you can now connect the three, I would say, of course, including ICP, 3 of the 4 major Web3 ecosystems in a secure, decentralized way. And you can actually build true cross-chain dApps. And that's really cool. But I will hand over to Greg to talk a little bit about what it is, how it works, why we need it. And then after that, we'll hear from our guests, and they'll tell us how they leverage the new features that come with the Helium milestone and what kind of new products or features they can ship with that. So Greg, stage is yours.
Hi everyone, thanks Moritz for the introduction. So basically today we want to talk a bit about the Helium milestone, and I'm here to explain a bit more details and maybe to give a bit more technical details what this is about. So basically, as Moritz said, this milestone enables smart contract on the internet computer to hold asset on the Solana blockchain and also to interact with the Solana blockchain. And so that means once you have that, you can leverage pre-existing integration that are already there. So with the Bitcoin native integration, with Ethereum and other EVM-based chain like Base, Arbitrum, and Optimism, to have really like cool cross-chain DeFi applications. So why did we build that? Well, a very simple reason. Solana in the last month is one of the leading blockchain in terms of trading volume. And so basically, we want to try to get users where they are and enable applications, enable developers to build applications that are only possible on the internet computer. So how did we do this? Well, this type of integration, basically, you need 2 things. We need to be able to write to the other chain, so to Solana, and we need to be able to read what's happening on Solana. So writing on a chain means basically doing a transaction, so signing using the signature scheme used by that chain. So in case of Solana, that's ED25519. And so the first part of the Helium milestone is actually threshold Schnorr, which enables threshold ED25519. So what that means in a couple of bullet points is that basically the threshold signature, a smart contract on the internet computer, has access to shares of a private key, and with those shares, each replica in the subnet can sign a given message, and by signing it with its shares of a private key, it obtains signature shares, and then those shares are gossiped around. And once each node in the subnet has enough signature shares, it can be recombined in a perfectly normal looking ED 25519 signature that can be then sent to the Solana blockchain. So basically, with this unique capability of the internet computer, smart contract on internet computer can sign transactions which are understood by the Solana blockchain and can also hold asset on the Solana blockchain. So each canister, so each smart contract on internet computer has access to a threshold ED25519 public key pair, and then can use key derivation to derive a tree of keys, for example, one for each user. And this key pair corresponds to different addresses on the Solana blockchain. So that's the first part, how you write on Solana. And then the second part is kind of, okay, how do you reach Solana? And there the solution is similar to what we have with Ethereum and EVM chain integration, meaning we're going to leverage another unique feature of the internet computer, which is that a smart contract on it can reach the outside world via HTTPS outposts. So basically, in a nutshell, what that means is that kind of each node in the subnet is going to issue an HTTP request, so the same HTTP request to some targeted URL. Those nodes are distributed all over the world. And then you do one round of consensus on the obtained responses to agree on one single response. And that's basically a way to have a decentralized client on the internet computer. So once you have this capability, then you can use existing providers, like, for example, Helium, Alchemy, to reach Solana, because they offer some Solana JSON RPC API. And here, the second part of that milestone is to provide a smart contract as a service that allows to reach Solana without a single point of failure. And to do that, basically by default, for every request, it's going to contact 3 different Solana JSON RPC providers. So, for example, Alchemy, Helium, and Public Node. And then return the result to the caller only if all responses matches. So, of course, there are more robust strategies that can be chosen, etc. But basically, those 2 features, so threshold ED25519 and this Sol RPC smart contract, enables to interact with the Solana blockchain from the internet computer. And so basically now the idea is that I think we're going to see from the different projects that we have as guests, how they plan on using one of those 2 features or those 2 features. And I'm really excited to hear more about that. Back to you, Moritz, unless there may be some questions.
Yeah, I mean, we can either answer questions during the stream, or we can collect them and kind of like see if we have time at the end and answer them there, whatever you prefer.
I don't know. So far, I think I don't see any concrete question. Oh, maybe I should check the comments. No?
Yeah, there was one question by Stan on YouTube. It's like, I think it's highlighted on the stream now also, if you want to read it.
Yes. With this milestone integration with Sol, will ICP venture into Solana's cellular phone seeker stack? Not that I'm aware of. So currently, that's basically our plan for Solana are currently limited to what we did with the Helium Milestone. But that doesn't mean that maybe that community project will try to do that. This I don't know.
Okay. I think we can maybe answer the remaining questions at the end of the live stream if we have more time left, because we have so many people and so much information to share, so many cool things to talk about, that I would maybe move over to the next section. And that would basically be giving our ecosystem projects the stage. And here I would like to start with Bob. Let's try this. You're unmuted. Beautiful. Yeah, Bob, great to have you here. Recently, a big milestone for Odin. I saw on X, I think, that you surpassed 5K Bitcoin volume, which is crazy, very crazy number. And I think you are also, I think last week or maybe the week before, you launched support for OG runes. So I can now bring runes that existed before that were not launched through Odin and trade them on Odin, which is super nice. So the question I want to ask you is, how does the Sol RPC canister play into Odin, which is more like a kind of like a BTC first platform, to my understanding, at least? And maybe, of course, also tell us a bit about, for those that don't know yet, who you are and what you are building.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Moritz. Always a pleasure to be here. My name is Bob Bodley. I'm CEO and co-founder of Odin Fund. Odin Fund is the fastest place to trade Bitcoin tokens. And if you haven't tried it, you just have to go try it. It's blazingly fast and it's amazing. It's like if you're a trader in crypto, it's like you're a kid in a candy store. You just go in and you just click away, and it's fantastic. So if you haven't tried it, definitely go in and try it out. And then, like you mentioned, we just hit 5,000 BTC in volume, which is insane. We just launched almost 5 months ago. We'll hit 5 months here in a couple days, which is crazy. The Odin Fund community has been absolutely fantastic. Huge shout out to everyone in the Odin Fund community. And you mentioned we recently integrated runes, so external runes. So any rune launched anywhere, whether it's on Bitcoin or whether it's on Odin Fund, they can all be traded on Odin Fund. Now that we support all runes, now we want to branch into other cross-chain spaces, which is why we're here talking about the Helium Milestone. In our case, we think that everybody wants to trade meme coins on Bitcoin. If you think about Bitcoin, it is the world's greatest meme coin. I think there's a stat that 90% of the world has heard about Bitcoin. And so meme coins on Bitcoin just make sense. Historically, the user experience has been really, really bad. But with Odin Fund, we've dramatically changed the user experience. It's super fantastic. And we want everyone to, experience the joys of trading meme coins on Bitcoin. And so, we think that anyone with a Phantom wallet should be able, if you have Sol in your Phantom wallet, you should be able to start trading with Bitcoin and Odin Fund in less than a minute. I think that process is feasible and possible. Essentially going from Sol and Phantom, deposit in some fashion, or maybe it's an intense type swap over to Bitcoin that is then deposited. Maybe it's a faster version of Bitcoin. And then you have Bitcoin and Odin Fund ready to trade. And I think in less than a minute, we can probably pull off that user experience. And so starting to bring people in from the Solana ecosystem to trade an Odin Fund is one of our next goals in terms of expansion. I think, everyone in the Bitcoin Season 2 space really enjoys trading tokens on Bitcoin, but I think that we're going to, bring that joy to other chains, starting with Solana.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, you've been really focusing on the user experience, and from people that try the platform, I only heard good things, and especially what you mentioned, right? That it's fun, fast, and very very enjoyable. Are there also plans to have pairs that trade against Sol directly, or do you think that it should always be Bitcoin as the denominator for the pools?
Yeah, currently everything is paired with Bitcoin, and for the foreseeable future, everything will be paired with Bitcoin. I mean, we are a Bitcoin DEX, and so everything is paired with Bitcoin. If you're a liquidity provider, you're earning Bitcoin. You're stacking sats as an LP. If you refer friends, you're stacking sats as they trade on the platform. So it's all Bitcoin focused.
Nice. Cool. Is there anything else you would like to share with us?
Definitely follow on Twitter. I'm at Bob Bodley, or at Odin God of Runes. And definitely if you haven't tried it out yet, you just have to try it. You can't, I could talk up here for hours about how everything works, but until you go and experience the pure joy, you just don't quite, get it. So definitely go in and check it out.
True. Do you have an ETA on when people will be able to come with their Sol wallets and start using Odin with Solana?
Yeah, I don't have a concrete release date yet. We're still looking at a couple different ways that we could do the integration. We've built out proof of concepts, and we have all of the main components ready to go in terms of like infra. We've eliminated most of the unknowns, and so now we're just trying to decide what the most efficient way is to actually do that integration.
Yeah. And will it be a different UI, or will it be the same URL, same UI, just that I now can also use Phantom to sign in?
Yeah, I mean, you can already log in with Phantom. So Phantom's already an accepted wallet. You essentially would just log in with Phantom. Then in the deposit, there you can just select Solana in addition to Bitcoin and other tokens. And then you would just put in the amount, hit deposit. That would then queue up your Phantom wallet. That would, queue off the deposit flow. And then you'd be ready to go. So nothing too crazy.
And what is the kind of like the infra, let's say, to take Sol, somehow turn it into Bitcoin, and then somehow deposit the Bitcoin into Odin? Is this something that you are planning on implementing yourself, or is there like someone you can integrate with, or you can partner up with, or what's the idea there?
Yep, we have a couple of different options. We have a couple different partners that have infra that we could use, whether that's leveraging the Solana RPC, or whether they have other infra, or we might just have people deposit Sol directly into Odin Fund, and then we'll just leverage that as kind of like a built-in deposit flow, essentially.
Interesting. Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. Then we are on time, so I'll move on to the
you're welcome.
Next guest. Let's see. It is Sheldon from Omnity. Hi, Sheldon. How are you?
Jim Moritz, I'm doing well. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Do you maybe want to tell us a bit about who you are and what you're building?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Sheldon from Omnity. I've been, happy to stay stable in Web3 and be working for this company for a number of years. We started out as a research group. We did a lot of different light client development, and all of it was based on app chain theory, a sort of thesis that monolithic blockchains can't exist by themselves in an island or in a vacuum. So when we had all of this light client work either pending or already completed, it was very productive for us to find that usability on the internet computer, because we could update a lot of our work without having to do major refactoring or major changes. And that led to a birth of a pretty interesting product that's still running today, which is the Runes Bridge, the Omnity Hub. And that product has been serving lots of different needs, and that is including getting BTC-Fi from the sort of Bitcoin L1 natively to other environments like Solana, Ton, Osmosis. And that has been a really great journey for us, thanks to great support from the Affinity Foundation. But that journey is just one part of what we're working on. We've been focused on sort of two halves of the product suite, as I describe it. One of them is retail oriented, so you can go use hub.omnity.network real easily if you have a Bitcoin wallet, or you could focus more on the developer side of tooling, which includes the Omnity Runes indexer, the Runes Exchange environment, and lots of other logic, thanks to components built into the IC, like full nodes on the Bitcoin subnet. So it's been really exciting to work on this. And, part of our thesis of app chain theory is that there is no single blockchain that will take over the world, but there is a need for different blockchains to interact and sort of bring their most important value to a larger audience. And we see the IC as a really critical gateway, a really critical middleware, and a really critical central ground where decentralized compute can be used for multiple blockchains simultaneously. So part of the product that we've been operating for more than a year had a Solana implementation. But now we have the Solana RPC canister upgraded, and that has resilience. As we mentioned before, there's 3 different providers that will be available for RPC calls, and that's really great. And that means that we have greater security, greater throughput, and greater flexibility for those calls. So that has been a great part of discussion with Solana projects and with other projects that are looking at Solana, but are looking at SPL tokens and are looking at the lift they would have to make as a team. And that lift is significantly higher than using the IC. So using the IC as an orchestrator for Solana, Bitcoin, and other blockchains has been our thesis for the past almost 2 years now, and it's been a really great journey. So our main offering is still this sort of 1/2 for users directly, including richswap.io, the first open source runes dex, which is built entirely on the IC, and the other side of it being developer tooling, which we're getting to a lot of projects that are not natively Bitcoin projects, or some that are not natively Solana projects either. So the process in getting that out to different folks means, hey, you have this kind of conversation. Hey, I'm curious about Bitcoin. I'm curious about Solana. What can I do? And there's obviously a very deep product conversation that comes up, and sometimes it's a little bit uncomfortable to say, hey, you'll just have to redo everything. So we try to make sure that that's not what teams are going through. And so far, those conversations have been really successful when they see that they can integrate HTTP calls into their existing node infrastructure or into their existing websites. They find that it's really convenient and really flexible to integrate Bitcoin with Omnity, integrate Solana and Bitcoin with the IC, and that's what we've been trying to facilitate as much as possible. So it's been a great journey, and we're just getting started. But I think there's a long list of products that we're hoping to see. We're very happy to see Odin's success. We're very happy to see Liquidium success, Blockminer Fund as well. But there are other projects who are testing quietly and looking for their big moment to come out. So I think there was an interesting question about Solana Seeker. I think there's a pretty reasonable path where you could be checking block height on both sides and being able to do things in sync with both chains. So we're excited to support that kind of development in the future, and there's a lot more to come. So thanks for having us on. We're happy to talk about our work anytime.
Yeah. Word is on the street that you were actually the first team that integrated the Sol RPC canister. So congratulations on that.
I'll admit we had kind of a leg up because we were already using a less formal implementation, and it's been nice to get the upgrade because I sleep better. I'm less worried about, let's say, Solana being unreachable from a segment of nodes. But especially having Helios and other RPCs, I'm very comfortable with that. I'm a fan of the work that goes on at Helios personally. So it was a pretty easy decision for us to make that we wanted to be the first, if not one of the first.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool to see this being used out in the wild in a kind of like a production environment after only, I think, a couple of weeks it was. So yeah, kudos to that. And yeah, I think you mentioned it already. You're a bit of a mix between like an infrastructure company and products that serve retail or end consumers. And I know from the conversations that I had in the past with the BTC-Fi projects that build on the internet computer, that a lot of them use your infrastructure actually for what you mentioned earlier. I think mainly for runes bridging. And now with Helium, I assume that you can kind of like launch a new suite of products. I assume you will, or you already support bridging Sol from Solana to the IC or something like that. So one question would be, do you have your own version of CK Sol? Because I mean, that doesn't currently exist. And the second question would be, do you have like, let's say, strategic plans to target non-BTC-Fi projects as well now? So are you like reaching into the realms of the Solana developer ecosystem and trying to talk to the devs there and trying to onboard them?
So we did complete some testing for bringing Sol directly to the IC. And one of the reasons we hesitated on building that into product is because we don't want to front run CK Sol. We think it'll make more sense to have the official chain key asset, enshrined by governance. That will be the long-term fit. And I think that's pretty close on the horizon here as more projects come up and, want to utilize this stack. There's a pretty simple argument to say, hey, I would rather not get into this sort of, dead-end version of the asset that I'll have to migrate to later. So we've been doing some testing on this, but we have hesitated just slightly. And obviously, this is a critical step forward to reduce that hesitation. But it has been a feature request from a number of partners to be able to bring Solana over, to bring Solana assets over, and to do more with orchestrating Solana than just existing in place. So we do have this strategic sort of focus for BTC5 projects first. That is certainly our top candidate is, hey, if you're already comfortable with managing UTXOs, if you're already comfortable with building with Bitcoin, then of course, you have a priority place in our chats. But if there's a team out there, and there are a number of them who've been testing this and are looking forward to release this quarter or next quarter, probably this quarter, there's a relatively short run to say, hey, I'm going to take the existing stack. I don't have to make feature requests. I don't have to do new stuff. I would like to integrate my assets as is. So one of the reasons that this has been so easy is there's lots of these projects now that are using node-based networks silently in the background. They don't enshrine the validators and make them like this very appealing part of the social fabric of the project. But if you look through their documents, you can see, hey, here's the Node.js, here's this npm package that you need to utilize. And I think that's been a pretty comfortable way for us to do these integrations, because although curl can be a little bit intimidating to really restrict effectively, if you have a limited number of endpoints that you're connecting through that service, then you can keep that pretty nicely structured. So there are a number of non-BTC5 projects that are going to be adapting and integrating BTC5 in the next month to 3 months. They've been working on it already, but it's a difficult environment to sort of pick your focuses, right? Crypto is very fast, so we're going to see more of these projects who want BTC5 natively on the Bitcoin L1 through the IC. These projects also have the same appetite for Solana as the hash machine, which is a little bit more monolithic, but still a very active user environment and still a very, very fast blockchain that's been refining quite a lot. So it's been good to see Solana not go down for a while, and that means we're going to keep going with more feature requests and more adaptations and integrations.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sheldon. Let's move on to our next guest, which is Robin from Liquidium. Oh.
Hey,
here he is.
great to be here.
Hi, Robin. How are you? Good to see you again.
Yeah,
you want to give us a quick intro of who you are and what you're building?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Robin, CEO and co-founder of Liquidium, and at Liquidium we kind of have two types of products. I'll quickly start with what we have and I think what we're known for, which is Liquidium WTF. As also the URL here in the corner says. So Liquidium WTF is a peer-to-peer lending protocol for Bitcoin and specifically Bitcoin assets. It's currently the largest lending protocol on layer 1 in the peer-to-peer space. And essentially what you can do there is you can borrow Bitcoin against ordinals, against runes and BRC20 tokens, and you can also lend out your Bitcoin to earn a native Bitcoin yield. With that platform, we have done almost $500 million in volume now. We've just crossed 100,000 loans on our platform. And yeah, so far, like I guess within the Bitcoin DeFi space, it has been working quite well. We have recently started implementing some ICP technologies to improve the user experience while still keeping the user experience entirely on Bitcoin. So kind of like using ICP in the background that is abstracted away from the user, and users can keep using their native Bitcoin wallets, native Bitcoin assets, and native Bitcoin. And then kind of the second thing that we're currently building, our upcoming product, is Liquidium.fi, which is a cross-chain lending application with Aave-like liquidity pools, which essentially will allow you to borrow pretty much any asset from any chain against any other asset on any other chain. So for example, USDC or USDT on Solana or Ethereum against your native Bitcoin, or Solana against Ethereum, or anything that you can kind of think of. We're trying to make a truly borderless cross-chain lending platform where you don't really have to worry about like what chain you're on or whatever. You just connect whatever native wallet to the native chain, and then you can use your assets from these native chains. And Solana obviously plays a very big role for us in this as well. I mean, as Greg said in the beginning, like Solana is one of the most used blockchains. I think there is a very large overlap between Solana and Bitcoin users as well. So that is definitely something that we want to integrate. We will start with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then Solana will be kind of like the third thing that we're adding to Liquidium.fi.
Awesome. And this is precisely what the Helium Milestone enables you to do, right? So with the EVM RPC canister and threshold ECDSA signatures, you were able to leverage USDT on Ethereum. And now with Helium, you're able to, I guess, leverage USDC on Solana.
Exactly. So that's basically what it's all about. Like, we don't want you to connect a wallet that you currently don't have. We want you to be able, if you have Solana on your Solana wallet, for example, Phantom or whatever you might use, we want you to be able to connect that Solana wallet and then use that Solana that you have, or use the USDC that you have on the Solana network. And precisely that is what the Helium Milestone achieves for us, is that we can basically natively interact with Solana and give people a true Solana experience while still leveraging our cross-chain ICP smart contracts in the background.
Awesome. Are you having plans on supporting other assets from Solana as well? So apart from USDC, and the same I think also goes for Ethereum, are there plans to allow borrowing Bitcoin against ETH or something like that? Or are you focusing on stables mainly?
No, absolutely. So we are basically focusing on all of the highly liquid tokens. So that includes USDC, USDT, Sol, and might include many other assets on Solana or Ethereum as well. We're just starting with kind of like the most liquid assets, because this is a liquidity pool based lending protocol, which means the liquidity of every single token needs to be extremely high. So there needs to be enough liquidity that you don't run any risk of sort of like false prices or anything like that, or illiquid tokens that then can't be sold. So that's why we're basically starting with native Bitcoin and USDT, and then adding USDC, Ethereum, Solana, and so on to the platform shortly after.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really cool to see what you built with using the internet computer as part of your tech stack. I think the first conversations between Dfinity and Liquidium started well over a year ago, I think. And the first product now launched, I think, a couple of weeks or maybe even months ago. And it's really cool to see that you have this instant loan feature where you use the threshold signing that improves the user experience. And I think with that, a majority of the loans are currently using instant loans, right? That you hand out on the or that you facilitate for the platform.
Correct. So on Liquidium WTF, we basically started with a pure layer 1 Bitcoin tech stack. So everything was entirely built on Bitcoin, using Bitcoin primitive technologies like discrete lock contracts, partially signed Bitcoin transactions, and so on. And we are still like using everything on Bitcoin. So we're still making sure that we're basically leveraging Bitcoin security to the max. But shortcoming of Bitcoin is sort of that you need to do something called SIG hash all, which means you need to know all of the inputs and outputs before you actually sign a transaction. And that kind of creates friction in the user experience. And with ICP, we were basically able to give users a way to delegate their signature and make the process much more automated and give a much better user experience. And we have rolled that, what we call instant loans feature, out to Runes a couple months ago. and by now around 95% of all of the Runes loans are instant loans. So definitely, like you can tell that the people prefer the enhanced user experience. There's more volume coming now through the Rune loans, and we're currently in the process of adding it to Ordinals as well. So Ordinals currently just supports manual loans, so the pure Bitcoin implementation, but then we're about to roll out instant loans for Ordinals as well. And personally, I'm very bullish that probably within the next couple of weeks, we will also see more than 90% of the Ordinals volume coming through the instant loans implementation, which uses ICP's chain fusion technology.
Awesome. Happy to hear. Yeah, it's you gradually worked your way up. So first Bitcoin integration, then you started with the EVM integration, and now as a third step, the Sol integration is finding its way into your products, which is great to see. And I really like to hear that the products that are being built nowadays focus a lot on user experience, which is, I think, something that crypto has struggled with forever. So it's good to see that there are founders that focus on that and that want to improve the lives of the clients. And I heard that you brought us a demo, actually, of what that product looks like or can look like. I'm not sure if it's live already. I think it's on a testnet, right? So if you want to, feel free to share your screen, and then you can maybe walk us through it a little bit.
Yeah, and also I just wanted to add one more comment to what you said about the user experience. Totally, like I totally agree. I think like crypto is still in that phase where like kind of like T-Mobile can communicate with AT&T, and we kind of need to cross these bridges and just make it like one single blockchain network where everything can communicate with each other. And yeah, so absolutely. I'll go ahead and share my screen here.
Oops. Let's add him back. There you go. Yeah, I think we can see that.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, so this is our demo page. It's demo.liquidium.fi. Everybody can actually try that out. So if you want to get a feel for the user experience, then just go to demo.liquidium.fi. And then basically in here, you can connect an empty wallet. It will give you demo funds. So all of this is kind of just like, demo environment. But it's very good to illustrate how the cross-chain functionality will work and how Solana and Bitcoin is integrated in here. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect my Bitcoin wallet first, which in this case, I could use Phantom that supports Bitcoin too. I'll just use Xverse in this case. And then kind of like sign in to my Xverse wallet, accept this. And then you can see my Bitcoin address is connected, which means my native Bitcoin is connected to that, to Liquidium now. And then I can also at the same time connect my Solana wallet. I'll just use Phantom here. And now I'm connected to Solana and Bitcoin at the same time. So what I can do now is right now my portfolio is empty. I don't have any active positions. But what I can do is, for example, if I want to borrow, let's say, a stable coin on Solana against my Bitcoin, I can just go ahead. I have Bitcoin selected here already. I can just say, I want to supply 0.5 Bitcoin. I will earn 3.22% interest on it. I'll just hit supply and then sign in my Bitcoin wallet as I'm basically sending Bitcoin or supplying Bitcoin from my native Bitcoin wallet to Liquidium. And then once that transaction confirms, I can see I've supplied the Bitcoin. And then what I can do is either just let it sit here, earn interest on the Bitcoin, or borrow something against it. And that's what I'm doing now. So I'll just select USDT on Solana. So I'll select that. And now I can say, for example, I want to borrow $25,000 worth of USDT. And I can see how much interest I'm going to pay on that loan. And if I hit borrow now, you will see that I will sign in my Phantom wallet on the Solana network. I'll hit confirm. Borrow transaction is initiated, transaction is pending. And then once that confirms, basically the USDT is now being sent to my Phantom wallet on the Solana network. So that's how easy it is to borrow something on Solana against your native Bitcoin, and also vice versa. Like I could borrow some, let's say, USDC on Ethereum as well. I'll just connect Phantom on the Ethereum network as well, borrow some USDC here as well, confirm on the Ethereum network. Same thing, as soon as the transaction is pending, that USDC will now land on my Ethereum wallet within Phantom. So yeah, that's how it works. Like you connect all three networks to the platform at the same time, and then you can go wild when it comes to borrowing and lending across different chains.
That's awesome. Very cool demo. To me, it's still mind-boggling somehow that you can build something like this on a smart contract on a blockchain, because it feels so Web 2-ish that it's really crazy that it's actually not. And I think the kind of like user experience or the flow that you showed will resonate very, very well with people. And I'm sure it will be as successful as the other things that you've been building. And in general, I think it's awesome that we now see more and more teams that really understand what you can do with Chain Fusion and what kind of cool products you can build. And I'm personally really excited to see the next couple of months or even years and what cool other projects will be realized with that. Cool, thank you so much, Robin. I think it's time to move to our next guest, which is Gorat from Kong. Let's see how to do this. So let's switch those two. Beautiful. Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Same. Do you maybe want to tell us a bit about what KongSwap does, who you are, what you're building?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Gorat. I'm one of the core contributors to the KongSwap project. Basically, Kong is built to let you trade pretty much any token across any chain. That's the ultimate vision. So we want to enable like seamless trading between Ethereum, Solana, ICP, Bitcoin, and doing this by having basically no bridges, no waiting, no friction. Like it should be really fast, it should work, and actually feel good to use. So like, you know, I know we talk a lot about UX, so we were also very, very much focused on having a nice and seamless user experience. So no painful stuff, you know, no like switching networks, etc. So besides the swapping, we also offer prediction markets. So just a couple of hours ago, we launched version 2 of our prediction markets. So if anybody is now interested in like doing their own predictions, so we kind of built a ton of features in now that every user can create a market. You can create predictions with I think up to 7 different tokens that we already support. There's dual resolution mechanisms. We made like the whole prediction is a lot more fair for everyone. And we're also like building an earn product, which will be sort of like a baby between, if you want to call it like staking, predictions, and options. So this is going to be coming out real soon as well. But yeah, like basically we're one app to swap, predict, and earn, and then you can like, you know, flex your edge to the community if you want to.
Awesome. Sounds cool. If I remember, you guys already support CK tokens on Kong, right? So when it comes to cross-chain functionality, that is already there. So I think you have at least surfaced without needing to add the ledger manually. I think you have CKBTC, probably also CK ETH, CK USDC, and I would guess also CK UCT.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
we have most
awesome.
of the CK stack. I think the couple of CKs we don't have is Pepe and CK Link.
You're missing out. But yeah, so one recent development apart from the prediction market launch, or one smaller thing that happened is that you can also sign in with Solana wallets on KongSwap now. So seems like you're also creating a user experience that caters to people that are already in the Solana ecosystem and that are, of course, using Solana wallets. And of course, if you support a Solana wallet on your dApp or on the UI that your dApp the app supports. That's of course a big plus when it comes to user experience, because they don't need to download anything new and figure out how the new stuff works. They can just bring what they know and start using the product that you've built. So I would be interested. So now with the Helium milestone, how are you leveraging that, and what kind of new features will this enable for Kong specifically?
Yeah, so we were working before in the past a lot with, threshold ECDSA, which has been around for 2 years now. I think a lot of the, let's say, newer protocols that emerged, like switched from ECDSA to EDDSA cryptography, right? So I think EDDSA really opens up the door to kind of the rest of the crypto universe. So that's exactly what we're using to kind of talk to Solana. Is basically this advanced version of threshold cryptography that the IC has built, and using canister level signing. So this enables us to do, as I'll show in the demo a bit later, really native asset swaps across chain. So you're like literally now breaking the fourth wall of blockchain, right? So you're completely erasing the borders between protocols. So EDSA really enables us to kind of wash away completely that there is, yes, it's two different protocols, but to the user experience, to whatever the user is trying to accomplish, it actually shouldn't matter, right? So it only matters on the kind of different protocol, different ledgers, etc., different setups. But for the user, it should really be like, I'm a Phantom wallet user, I log in and I want to do some trading on the ICP, and that shouldn't prevent me that, ICP is a different ledger. So basically it should be instant native, and you shouldn't leave the interface. As few clicks as possible to accomplish whatever you want to do. In our case, mostly it's swap, predict, earn, whatever. And yeah, basically we see Kong then becoming this liquidity engine for a borderless blockchain economy, right? And hopefully we can in the future integrate a lot more chains really fast. So Solana took us about a month, and now we have all this experience under our belt. We have plans to get into the EVM ecosystem, so kind of like Base, BNB, maybe Sonic, and some other up-and-coming chains, as well as then integrating native Bitcoin, Sui. So this would be our rollout plans after that, and then we have on Kong this seamless platform where you can just trade all these different protocols without any hassles that you have now, or any kind of middleware, bridges, etc., but just native swaps.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, that sounds really exciting. Seems like you're really trying to build this true cross-chain DEX experience. And because pictures are stronger than words, I heard that you also have a demo for us. So maybe you wanna share your screen, and I put that up on the stream.
Happy to share. And this is actually the first time we're showing this live. So yeah, can everybody see it?
Yes.
Okay, so basically I'll do a demo of 3 different swaps. So how this works is I'll just connect my wallet. So basically we can choose from any number of wallets that we currently support on KongSwap. So in this case, because we're doing the Helium today, I'm going to use Solana. So you don't see it, I'm just signing in right now, sorry, and doing some confirmations. So this will be done real quick. Okay, so now I'm signed in, just to show everyone. So you can see my address. So I have my Solana Phantom address. We're using SwiftS as well. So basically we're generating also ICP principals and account IDs for my...
Maybe for people that don't know what that is, do you want to quickly give a very high level?
It's basically a canister that kind of creates an identity on the internet computer for a Solana wallet, right? So to put it very simply, if I'm logging in through the canisters, the Swift canister, right, it creates an identity for the internet computer. So this identity is then connected to my phantom wallet. So for every application that I would sign in, I would get this address, right? So basically, this enables me to kind of have like the seamless experience as when trading. So right now, I'm just gonna trade some Solana. So this is, whoops, not too much, since it's like a small pool. So we're gonna do a Solana ICP transfer. Basically, I'm confirming this. So I have a wallet confirmation, another one, and pretty much in 10 seconds, this transfer will be done. Yeah. So basically, the swap is done. That was it. Now,
wow.
just to show you guys, so we're not talking mambo jumbo. So you see, like 18 seconds ago, this was the value of the Solana that I sold. So you can check the transaction hash, right? So you see this happened. And then, yeah, also let's check out in the IC Explorer. Let's do a quick refresh. Yeah, so you can see the transfer of the ICP that I just bought with Solana. So both transfers executed, and this was like around 5 to 10 seconds is the usual transfer time. So really, like your experience when you're trading on Kong between ICP and Solana is basically you won't notice a difference. It's pretty much like centralized exchange speed right now. Like protocol token to protocol token is not the only combination that we can do. So what I'll do now is maybe I'll use some KongSwap to buy an SPL token. So I'll buy some USDC with Kong. I got like about 9 Kong. So maybe I'll use like 5 Kong to buy some USDC. Again, yeah, just executing the swap. Now this is not doing all the ECDSA magic. And in about 10 seconds, this should be, yeah, exactly, this is done as well. We can quickly check on chain. So you can see in my wallet, I bought almost 10 cents of USDC. Now, for the last thing, so it's not only cross-chain assets that we support, but through Helium, we can actually do a pretty fun thing, which is we can trade Solana tokens with Solana tokens. So now we're using basically a DEX built on the internet computer to do a swap of 2 Solana tokens, right? So I'm gonna do a swap, like just buy a little, okay, let's do a little bit more, not be so cheap, sorry. 2.2. Yeah, so this is now like a smart contract on the IC executing a swap on the Solana network, right? So again, speed is going to be the same. Yeah, swap is there. You can check it out here. Again, you can see 0.2 and the USDC. So if we just switch over here, you can see the swap actually happening here.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is basically sort of like the first raw version. We're still kind of polishing up the UI, just making sure everything works nicely, integrating more tokens, and getting it ready for release.
So you also are you kind of like moving towards using more the native asset, or is this under the hood represented by a token ledger on the IC as well?
No, we're like Solana's like a super fast chain, right? So in the case of CK BTC or CK ETH, I think like the CK version makes a ton of sense, and maybe the CK version is also makes a lot of sense for other types of applications. But for swapping, I think for the user, it's just the easiest way is to go from like native to native. And since Solana has like a block time of, I think, 0.2 seconds, the speed of which you can, transfer the native asset is, a real advantage. So we think we'll just stick to native here.
Awesome. Yeah, again, I have to congratulate you on the UI and also on the UX. It looks really cool, super fast. Seems like there's very little friction involved. So yeah, I can't wait to see this live and in action. Is there an ETA on when people can dabble around with this, play around with this?
Yeah, so the kind of the timeline that we're aiming for is like mid July now that we can release it.
Awesome. Very cool. So I see we have 5 minutes left, and maybe we can take 1 or 2 minutes to answer pressing questions. So let me quickly go through the comments. So one question towards Odin. Bob, that one is for you.
Remarkable BTC speed on Odin is the speed achieved by utilizing ICP tech. Yes, all trades are running directly through ICP smart contracts. We use a single canister or monolithic canister design. So all of our smart contracts are included in the same smart contract. This means that we don't have any latency doing cross canister, cross subnet, or cross smart contract calls. So yes, all trading goes directly through smart contracts that are fully on ICP.
Awesome, thank you. Next question I think is probably for Greg.
So when ICP uses chain fusion like Sol, is there an authorization process needed from the Solana Foundation? If not, what's the sentiment from the Sol community? Well, the cool thing, right? It's like Solana is a public blockchain, so anyone can use it, and we are just providing some tech to allow developers to be able to use it from the internet computer. So we don't need like a special authorization or anything like that. The sentiment from the Sol community, yeah, that's a good question. So I think some contacts from communication departments have been trying to approach Solana developers to see if that's something they could be interested in and so on. So far, I think we like maybe from the Solana point of view, a killer application on Solana to attract these developers. For example, to have, I don't know, maybe something like CKBTC on Solana, I think would be something really great. So yeah, we are trying to observe and get some feedback from them, and currently we don't know so much.
Awesome, thank you. And that's another short one for you.
Such a website, I'm not aware of such a website yet, but I think it's going to probably be built by or some community project that have been showcased just a few minutes ago.
So for now, there are no plans for CK Sol from Definity.
So we are looking at it. So we are not committing yet to CK Sol. I think we are aware that maybe we need to provide in some way either CK Sol or a library plus maybe needed infrastructure to easily enable the direction from Solana to ICP. And this we want to look at and see what's the best way forward with this, whether it's CK Sol or maybe something more modular that could also lead to CK Sol. We don't know yet. So now this phase is a bit more exploratory.
Awesome. Thanks. So the remaining 120 seconds, I want to say thank you for everyone that joined us today, not only our guests, but of course also everyone that tuned in over YouTube and X. I think we had a stellar lineup here, and I also really liked it that we had a couple of product demos. It's always a bit easier to grasp what people are building when you can actually see it. Maybe sometimes it's a bit too theoretical otherwise. And I want to urge you or recommend you to, first of all, take a look at, if you're a developer, take a look at the Sol RPC canister. There's a nice example in there as well. There's also a client library written in Rust that you can use to interact with the Sol RPC canister. So if you want to leverage chain fusion, or if you want to leverage the Sol RPC canister or the Sol integration, take a look at this one. Then I would also ask you to join our community. We have a Discord. The URL is discord.internetcomputer.org. And then, of course, if you want to have maybe a bit more of a high-level overview of what chain fusion is, if that wasn't fully clear, then this is a very good starting point for your journey. With that, thank you, everyone that joined us, and see you next time.
Thanks.